again I relapse, but love has never left me. Perhaps I should have found a way to pay it back. But if I get, will you take? Makeup stained sheets and tear-soaked cheeks, desperate for the dawn to bring back dignity. Time and time again I relapse, but love has never left me. Perhaps I should have found a way to pay it back. But if I get, will you take? Only take enough to swallow the pain. Drown the pain until it all wash away. From the night to the day you dream, you forgive my mistake. It becomes another habit to break. I'll replay it till the guilt turns to shame. From the night to the day you dream like that. Who needs a heart that tears apart? Ruminating cycles me back at the start. Time and time again I relapse, but your love is always waiting. Perhaps I can't save myself, so I fade to black. But if I get, will you take? Only take enough to swallow the pain. Drown the pain until it all wash away. From the night to the day you dream like. You forgive my mistake. It becomes another habit to break. I'll replay it till the guilt turns to shame. From the night to the day you dream Give and take, only take enough to swallow the pain. Drown the pain until it all wash away. From the night to the day you forgive my mistake. It becomes another habit to break. I'll replay it till the guilt turns to shame. From the night to the day. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? It's the end of the weekend, but I still wanna turn up. Yeah, I still wanna turn up. All I want is to go again, but you ain't picking your phone up. Why you messing my head up? Any night, any day, let me take you away. All I need is just saying yeah, 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 yeah. Better nights, better days, when you're here with me, babe. Cause you're all that I crave, so I wonder, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Don't hide away from me when I need you most. We got love guaranteed, and I have to know, say, where are you? Don't be so hard to reach, just pick up your phone. Tell me where you'll be, cause I gotta know. Let me know when you're ready, 'cause I made reservations. Too many invitations, and the last night was heavy. I need communication. Tell me where's your location. Used to talk 24/7, every other second, just to make sure we were up to date. Now it's closer to 11, and I ain't hearing nothing. I just need to know that you're okay. Where are you, baby? Don't hide away from me when I need you most. We got love guaranteed, and I have to know. Say, where are you? Hey, don't be so hard to reach. Just pick up your phone. Tell me where you'll be, 'cause I gotta know. Any night, any day, let me take you away. All I need is you saying yeah, yeah. Better nights, better days, when you're here with me, babe, 'cause you're all I crave. So I wonder, where are you, baby? Don't hide away from me when I need you most. We got love guaranteed, and I have to know. Say, so hard to reach. Just pick up your phone. Tell me where you'll be, 'cause I gotta know.
I can hear them thinking out loud, loud. Simple people acting so proud, proud. I hear them talking, talking, talking about us. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can hear them thinking out loud. One might think it's obvious. Please don't spill your mind when you don't have a clue. Hey, they don't know about us, babe. They don't know about us. They can think what they want, baby, but they don't know a thing. Even if they did have a glimpse of our truth, they wouldn't know about us. No, they wouldn't know about us. They keep wishing that I'd fall in line, line. But you and me, babe, we're one of a kind, kind. One might think it's obvious. Please don't spill your mind when you don't have a clue. Hey, they don't know about us, babe. They don't know about us. They can think what they want, baby, but they don't know a thing. Even if they did have a glimpse of our truth, they wouldn't know about us. No, they wouldn't know about us, us, us. They don't know about us, They don't get it, babe, living in a cruel world. It's a rare thing to do just what we do, love. Hold your head high and do it by your own terms. They don't get it, babe, no, they don't get it, babe. They don't know about us, babe. They don't know about us. They can think what they want, baby, but they don't know a thing. Even if they did have a glimpse of our truth, they would
Tell her I can't snake me. Ray gun off safety. My girl so tasty. Tell her it's your world. She want the two-tone spaceship. Blow smoke screen daily, so the stress don't faze me. I'm going, I keep it factual. I'm on sabbatical. I'm out in Central America. I need a break from hysteria. Park like the one with the carousel. I get it lit in your area. I'm locked to the vision, it couldn't be clear. You couldn't pay me to care enough. I dare you to hate me supreme with the sound through the stereo. So turn it up loud when you hearing us. We live and it's good in your area. My mama proud, she tearing up and it's going down. Got your girl aroused by these massive stacks like 100.
You broke my heart 1,000,000 times. Can't count the times I made you cry.
Oh yeah.
Such a mess now.
Mic check
And
1
we're
2.
burning out.
Mic
I
check
get
1
so
2.
sad at the thought of losing you. I'm losing you.
Gotta know I can
I
sing.
can't bear the thought of losing you. I'm losing you.
No, I can't sing.
Perfect as the day goes by. Even the worst ones hate, they make me smile. I stop the world if it would give us time, yeah, to work things out, to work things out, to work things out, to work things out, yeah.
Trying a new system. We're gonna see if it works today. If it don't, we'll revert back to the old one. Salute. Everybody, type salute. Even if you typed it before, type it again. Just type salute. I want to see if the new system is picking it up. Oh, and type it. I think this new one ain't gonna work. I don't think it's gonna work because it requires you to type salute with a capital S and the exclamation point. Do me a favor, type salute, capital S, and exclamation point, and that's the only thing you type. I just want to test it. Add the exclamation point. See, the old system, I'm running them both at the same time. The old one is picking it up, but the new one is not. You guys are forgetting this exclamation point. Type salute. Only a capital S. Here, I'll do it myself. Just like that. Oh, everybody's loading up. Oh, it's working. Oh, it's not case sensitive. It's grabbing everybody. Erica, Lakeisha, Brubman, Samuel, Miss Drea, Mr. Awesome. Everybody's in here. I know you guys didn't all do it the right way. Look at it replying back to you guys. Oh well. We'll see. Welcome to another chapter of Rich People Read. I still don't have an intro for this. I need a cool intro. Welcome to another chapter of Rich People Read, where rich people read. Right? I was, as a film producer, I learned that a consistent intro to a show is required for the proper image burning, I guess, into somebody's psyche. You know, when you think of the Donahue Show, when you think of Oprah Winfrey, when you think of, think about game shows. The Price is Right. Hollywood Squares, or some of the more popular shows like the, so you think you can, so you want to be a millionaire. Notice that all those shows have a pre-written intro. Think about the most popular sitcoms and the music that they play before the show starts. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or Martin. Remember Martin? You know, that is required. And so even for a radio show or a talk show segment like this, it's important that the host comes up with something snappy, something snazzy that they say all the time to burn into the people that's actually, to burn into the psyche of the people that's actually watching. I haven't made one for Rich People Read yet. You know, on my other podcast, High Value Shan, it's welcome to another episode of High Value Shan, where not only is Shan a high value man, so is the content, right? Now, in the event that that show becomes really, really popular, I do hundreds or thousands of episodes, people are going to be able to say, oh man, that's Shan, the dude that say, welcome to High Value Shan, where not only is Shan a high value man, so is the content. It's burned in. I got to come up with something real jazzy for Rich People Read. I'm going to come up with something. I promise you guys, it's going to be something cool. It's going to be something cool. But the new system is working. It looks like it's working, at least. It looks like the new system is working. It looks like the new system is working. Whoa. Okay, so like, let me see. Let me take a look. See, Kimberly, hold on.
Yes, ma'am.
Shout out to Kimberly. Shout out to Kimberly. She just joined the Army. All the soldiers, please salute Kimberly for joining the SR Army, you guys. Let's all salute Kimberly for joining the SR Army. Send her a salute. Send her the salute that only the soldiers get. Thank you, Kimberly, so much for that. And notice as you guys are saying salute in the chat, it's writing you back. Like, for instance, Christian wrote salute, so it wrote back that Christian is present and accounted for, and that he's part of the giveaway. And then it did its automatic. It's supposed to, after a certain amount of replies, it's supposed to remind you that the free gift card contest is still going. That looked like it worked. Samuel and Miss Drea and Mr. Awesome all got their acknowledgement that they're part of the game. And Samuel didn't write it the way he wrote it in all caps, and it still identified him. Erica Penn wrote it in all caps, and it identified her. So it looks like it's not case sensitive, but you got to have the exclamation point. It looks like you got to have the exclamation point. You can't miss the exclamation point. Salute to everybody. We are on chapter 2. I'm going to let this roll. Now, one thing I noticed that it's not working is the super chats. One thing I noticed that's not working is the super chats. And when Kimberly joined the Army, it was supposed to notify us that she joined. I'm gonna have to do a live test after this is done. After this is done. But it did notice that she joined the military, but it's supposed to pop something up on my screen. Oh, I know why it didn't work. I didn't add that over here. You know what? Hold on, you guys. Bear with your boy. Bear with me. You guys are watching me build this channel as I go. We're building the plane as we're flying it. We are building the plane as we fly it. Hold on one second. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to grab this notifications. Then I'm going to move it over to this screen here. Drop it in monologue and drop it in the reader. Okay. Come back to monologue. Then I'm going to go back to live mode. Okay, it should work. We'll see. I don't know, but I do want to give a shout out to Mr. Awesome for the $10 super chat. He's starting the morning off right. He's somebody who's continuously supporting the channel. He says, don't let me find out you've been neglecting your East Coast soldiers with these live schedules at the job, but we'll catch the relay. Break it down for TLA also. Salute and the like. Appreciate you, bro. No, I'm not neglecting those soldiers. We don't neglect soldiers. We leave no one on the battlefield. No one is left behind. No one is left behind. We either all make it home or we all die. We either all make it home, alive or dead, or we all die on the battlefield. That's the way we were taught. So no, I don't neglect my East Coast folk. Shout out to my East Coast folk. Kimberly, the system recognized you too. Salute. And she wrote it with other words. See, I'm doing all this testing. So Kimberly Versilio said, salute my friends. And then she wrote it with a full sentence. So the system picked her up. A Senior's here. My guy. RG is here. My guy. The system has recognized you. Okay, so I know that's working. This is a new one that I want to potentially start using. It combines two other systems all into one. It just makes things easier. And it's a little bit more robust. If the other things like super chats and subscriptions and members work, we should get a little some silly little stuff that's going on up here. I used just some temporary graphics that I'm going to change, but I need to test that it's working. So we'll see if it's working. We'll see if it's working. We don't know if it is, but we'll see. Oh, it's working. Look at that. It's work. Did you see that? It said, yo, it had a picture. I can't even bring it back. But see, if I'm already talking and this happens, because what was happening is people was hitting us with super chats and I was missing them. I don't want to miss them. I cannot miss the people who support the channel. There's no way. I will interrupt a conversation. I will interrupt an argument. I will stop reading. I will stop talking. If people are going to be coming here blessing the channel. If people are going to bless this channel, then we give love, period. Because you don't have to do that. It's not a requirement. And so when we get people like A Senior, who, from what I could tell, this brother is spending about $100,000 a year in super chats. And just my calculation, because I'm following him and Jonathan Barronfield. A Senior is dropping $100 everywhere he goes. He blessed JR last night at the Lepeef Network. He blessed big time El Guapo on his show the other night. It seems daily this brother is dropping $100. He's probably maxing out, because you know YouTube will max you out. If he's maxing out at $500 a week, if he's maxing out at $500 a week, no, I'm sorry, a day, which can lead up to $1,000 to $2,000 a week. If there's 52 weeks a year, this brother's looking at $52,000 to $104,000 a year in super chats. That's how much. See, he's paying tithes to his law of reciprocity. Did you guys catch me last night on the Lepeef Network? We were talking. We had the lead attorney. Man, that dude is awesome. JR is awesome. You know, and we had the lead attorney on. I was on a panel with the lead attorney. That dude, just listening to that dude makes you wonder, because he's an attorney and he's 20 years in the game. And so, you know, he brings that fever and that heat. It's almost like you feel like you're in court. It's like, damn, am I in court? Am I getting cross-examined? You got to watch what you say. And he makes you think. It's really amazing to be on a panel with him. And we were talking about the law of attraction, which is one of the three universal laws. Law of reciprocity, law of attraction. Those are two of the universal laws. Do you guys know what the third one is? Do you guys know what the third universal law is? There's three of them. Some people say it's 5. Some say it's 7, but there's 3 consistent across the board. One is law of reciprocity. One is law of attraction. We talked about law of attraction at the Lepeef Network on King Talk. Right now, we're talking about law of reciprocity. And so when you have people like A Senior, who runs around YouTube gaining knowledge and blessing people with his knowledge in super chat, and then in the chat, and then giving people blessings, he encourages content creators like myself to be out here, and he doesn't do it lightly. Yes, it worked, A Senior, and boom. Yes, it worked. Thank you so much for your continued support, man. Thank you so much for your continued support. Did you see the little cat that flew up with the eyes and stuff? It worked. And see, it makes the sound that in any event that I'm into something, or I'm reading or whatever, or maybe I'm having a conversation with somebody, that'll show up on the screen to let us know that somebody that blessed us. And there's levels to it. There's levels to it. There's levels to the super chat. So it's going to let us know exactly what you say, and it writes what you wrote. So thank you so much for that, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for the test. Brother Love Show is in the house. Lakeisha is in the house. Princess is here. Jill Williams is here. Thank you all for showing up for today. We're getting ready to read chapter 2 of Think and Grow Rich. For those that don't know, or that's here for the first time, we've been reading Think and Grow Rich. I want you to catch up. First, go grab this book. You see that brother that just gave me $100 super chat? He bought 6 books for people. He bought 6 copies and had it mailed to their houses, to their homes, so we could read along. These people are with us. And if they don't read with us now, they'll catch up on it later. You don't have to actually be here live. I prefer you to be here live, but you can always catch up with us later. Oh yeah, and tap in with Mr. Sham's Instagram. Okay, cool. So cool. That system is working. I'm happy that Streamlabs, remember it was Stream Elements before. Now we're using Streamlabs. Streamlabs has the contest and the notifications all in one. Before I had to use Nightbot and Stream Elements. I'm trying to use Streamlabs, which has it all in one. And Streamlabs also has these other little tidbits that works. So I'm glad that that's working. We're reading Think and Grow Rich. So in addition to the other topics that I have on my channel, high value content, relationships, and entrepreneurships, in addition to the membership section that we have on my channel, where we talk about being a better man and being a better woman, BBL, BBM, and BBW. And then I also do a raw wisdom, where I drop tidbits of wisdom. This is Mr. Shan giving you a nugget of raw wisdom to help you do better and be better. Where I also do on this channel, where we also do a soldier story.
Welcome.
Where I go live, where I'm out and about. I'm usually in the fashion district here in Los Angeles downtown, or I'm in Beverly Hills or Hollywood at an event. I go live where I'm there, and I'll drop some information that's helpful to people, show them what's going on, what I'm doing. In addition to that, we have a show called Rich People Read, and you guys are here at the Rich People Read. We read a book every month. We continuously read. If nothing else, we're gonna read at least 12 books a year. How many of you guys have read one book in the last 5 years? Some of you guys do not read at all. Well, I want to encourage you to read, because if you intend to be rich, you must read. It's not an option. It's not optional. It's a requirement. It's a prerequisite to wealth. So if it's difficult for you, allow me to help you. Come here and just listen to me read to you. You don't have to actually read it with your own eyes to the pages. You don't have to read it with your own eyes, letters and words to the pages. You can listen to audiobooks. You guys are listening when you drive to work. Here's some game that I give to the members. When you take your children to school, do you listen to the radio? When you take your children to school, do you listen to the radio? If you take your children to school and you're listening to the, Cardi B, and you're listening to, Offset and Kanye West and Drake, listening to a little bit of Beyonce on the way to work, right? Stop that now. I'll be giving this stuff. I'll be talking about this stuff public, but this is the content that I'm going to be giving to the members. We're going to have shows on this. Stop listening to the radio today. Today is the last day. If you can hear me, let today be the last day that you turn on the radio, the music radio, while you commute your children to school. I really want you to do it when you're driving around, but certainly when you commute your children to school. Here's what's important. Instead of listening to the radio, can you pipe your phone through the audio system on your radio in your car? Do you have a modern car where you can do Bluetooth and listen to whatever's playing on your phone? You know what you do? If you don't have your children reading, you know what you do? You turn on a self-help podcast. You pipe in the audio of a self-help, self-empowerment, wealth-building podcast and let your kids listen to that. They got plenty of time for music. Trust me when I tell you. When they get to school, they got plenty of time for music. Their friends got phones. They're playing music. They're doing the latest TikTok dances. They're having fun. They're doing all that stuff when they get to school. When you're not looking, they're doing it in their bedroom. But when they're with you, you play something that's self-empowering and let that burn into their mind. Don't let them memorize the latest pop song. Let them memorize the latest information that's going to help them become a better person. When I'm with my two sons, I have a son that is 6 years old and one that is 3 years old. Guess what we listen to when we drive? Podcasts that help people be better people. I want that to burn into them subconsciously, on a subconscious level. They don't even know it. That's how people memorize music. Why do your kids know the latest song, the latest and greatest song? It's burned into them subconscious. Next thing they know, they singing it. And it's like, damn, you know the lyrics better than the actual artist that sang the song. Well, imagine if they were just listening to self-help. Imagine if they were listening to Les Brown. Imagine if they were listening to Les Brown on the way to work every day. On the way to school. Imagine if they were listening to Eric Thomas. Imagine if they were listening to Bishop T.D. Jakes. Look, the drive to school ain't but 10, 15 minutes, right? 20 minutes. Just 20 minutes, 5 days a week. You have an opportunity, a small window to have your children listen to T.D. Jakes, Les Brown, or Eric Thomas. That you can pipe through the audio on your stereo. Do you know what kind of positive impact that would have on your kids once they get to high school? If they're already in high school, once they get to college, if they're in middle school, or if they're in middle school, once they get to high school, if they're in elementary school, once they get to middle school, do you understand the positive impact that would have while they're in the back seat? Wait, tell them they got to take the headphones off. They got to listen to this. And they listen to that every day. You will have a different child. I'm gonna stop right there. I'm saving that because we're gonna have a show on that, but it's gonna be for the members. It's called Be a Better Man, Be a Better Woman. That's gonna be part of that series. But I'm giving you a tidbit of the stuff we talk about. So shout out to the people that's members of the Army, of the SR Army. We are not the U.S. Army. Let me go back and see. I don't know what's going on. I'll be talking to the camera. So I'm not sure who. Oh my God. Everybody, Christian just in listening to the Army. Christian, I'm not sure if Christian is a woman or a man.
Sir, yes, sir. Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
We're going to hit him with both. Everybody in the Army, let's give a salute. Let's give a military salute. You know the little emoji that's down there. Give a military salute to Christian for joining the military, for joining our Army. Shout out to Christian. Shout out to Christian. Christian joined the National Guard. Christian joined the National Guard. Kimberly and Christian both joined the National Guard today. Thank you for your service. You see that little emoji, that RCC 72 Detroit? Nobody else can do that besides the soldiers. Miss Drea got it. Nobody else can show that besides only the soldiers see that. Christian is a man.
Sir, yes, sir.
Welcome. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Everybody that becomes a member of this channel is going to get content that's going to help us become better people. It's a nominal amount. It's the price of McDonald's trip. In fact, we don't fuck with McDonald's, right? We talk about nutrition and eating. We don't eat where there's a drive-through. That's another show. Should I be talking about this publicly? Should I explain to people how I found the Fountain of Youth, how I'm 49, I'm touching on 50, I'm 49 and a half years old. I'll be 50 next year. And I'm in the best shape of my life. I am. We don't eat where there's a drive-through. You don't eat where there's a drive-through. That's a little tidbit. So to all the soldiers out there, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys jumping in and joining the nation. Let's get it, you guys. Today, we are reading chapter 2 of Think and Grow Rich. This book right here, if you guys do not read often, this is what we're reading today. This is what we're reading today. We're reading one chapter, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the next 5 weeks. We're on chapter 2. We just started day before yesterday. So we're going to knock out chapter 2 today. I'm going to read it to you, and we're going to be done. And you'll be dismissed. I appreciate everybody. That's right, everybody. Give them a salute. I see the salutes coming in. I appreciate you guys. Let's go. I got to get used to using my board. All right. Is this system working? Is the system working? I think so. Let me see something. Hold on. I'm going to just see, because I see some stuff on the screen I'm not supposed to see. Why is that up there? Hold on. We're getting ready to read chapter 2. Oh, I see what it's trying to do. It's trying to fit everything in. Let's make it. I got to make it. Production value has to be high. It's required. All right, guys. Chapter 2 of Think and Grow Rich. If you guys have not read this book, we read it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I want you guys to catch up with chapter 1. If you have not read chapter 2, read it along with me now. They are independent of each other. The chapters are independent. This book is more of an instruction manual on how to become a millionaire. So you don't have to read it in order. Chapter 1 can be read after chapter 2. We're going to read chapter 2 today, so read along with us today. And then if you'd like, please grab the book. If you have an iPhone, you can get the book for free if you want to read it on your phone. I know it's much better to have the physical book in your hand. It is, but if you want it right now, there's an app on your phone called Books. It comes on every iPhone and every iPad. It's just called Books. Go to the bookstore in there and type in Think and Grow Rich. You're going to see a ton of different options. You're going to see audiobooks in there for $2.99, $1.99. You're going to see the version that you can just read it on your phone. Not an audio, not some white guy with a deep voice reading it to you. Although you can purchase that. You can get the actual text version. There's some free versions in there where it doesn't cost anything. And then there's some versions in there that's like $2. That gives you a little bit of details and talks about the chapters, and the writing is different, it's cleaner. Run to the bookstore on your phone and grab the book. Then I want you to catch up with chapter 1. And if you can, go grab a physical copy, because most of us wealthy people, we keep a library. My library is around the corner. I want you to start your library. I want you to start your library to the point where you have so many books that when in your next house, when you get your 5,000 square foot estate, right? When you get your 5,000 square foot estate, that one of those rooms will be your dedicated library. And you're going to remember that one of the first books that you put in your estate is Think and Grow Rich. So make sure you get a physical copy as well. Even though you may read it on your phone or on your iPad or your Kindle, get a physical copy. So as you build your library, you'll know that one of your first books is Think and Grow Rich, the book that actually helped you become the rich person and the wealthy person that you are going to be that day. Chapter 2, Desire, the starting point of all achievement. It's the starting point of all achievement. The first step towards riches. Mind you, we talk about money over here. This channel, Shannon Rawls channel, we talk about getting rich. We talk about people with bread. So if you are interested in money, you're in the right place. If you're interested in living a comfortable life, if you want a Porsche, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, a Lamborghini, Bentley, or a Rolls Royce, you're in the right place. If you want to get out of an apartment and into a home that you own yourself, where you're building equity, and you're paying a mortgage, if you want to stop paying rent and start paying a mortgage, and then get to the point where you're only paying property tax, you're in the right place. If you want a walk-in closet, where you walk in to change your clothes, you look to the left, those are your pants and your suits. You look to the right, those are your shoes. You're in the right place. We talk about money over here. If that's not what you're interested in, we're not the ones for you. The SR Army is not the ones for you. When Edwin C. Barnes climbed down from the freight train in Orange, New Jersey, more than 30 years ago, he may have resembled a tramp, but his thoughts were those of a king. As he made his way from the railroad tracks to Thomas A. Edison's office, his mind was at work. He saw himself standing in Edison's presence. He heard himself asking Mr. Edison for an opportunity to carry out the one consuming obsession of his life, a burning desire to become the business associate of the great inventor. Barnes's desire was not a hope. It was not a wish. It was a keen, pulsating desire which transcended everything else. It was definite. The desire was not new when he approached Edison. It had been Barnes's dominating desire for a long time. In the beginning, when the desire first appeared in his mind, it may have been, probably was, only a wish. But it was no mere wish when he appeared before Edison with it. A few years later, Edison C. Barnes again stood before Edison in the same office where he first met the inventor. This time, his desire had been translated into reality. He was in business with Edison. The dominating dream of his life had become a reality. Today, people who know Barnes envy him because of the break his life yielded him. They see him in the days of his triumph without taking the trouble to investigate the cause of his success. Barnes succeeded because he chose a definite goal, placed all of his energy, all of his willpower, all of his effort, everything back of that goal. He did not become the partner of Edison the day he arrived. He was content to start in the most menial work as long as it provided an opportunity to take even one step toward his cherished goal. 5 years had passed before the chance he had been seeking made its appearance. During all those years, not one ray of hope, not one promise of attainment of his desire had been held out to him. To everyone except himself, he appeared only another cog in Edison's business wheel. But in his mind, he was the partner of Edison every minute of the time, from the very day that he went to work there. It is a remarkable illustration of the power of a definite desire. A definite desire. Barnes won his goal because he wanted to be a business associate of Mr. Thomas Edison more than he wanted anything else. He created a plan. He created a plan. You guys know the 5 P's, right? You know the 5 P's, right? Proper planning prevents poor performance. Proper planning prevents poor performance. Proper planning, write this down. Write this down, everybody. Don't talk to me if you don't have a plan. Don't talk to me. I don't even talk to people that come to me. And as a film producer, people would come to me with an idea, then I would say, well, lay out your plan. Let me hear it. And they didn't have a plan, and that ended the conversation. That ended the meeting. I know so many people I've been very close to who wasn't big on planning, and they fall apart all along the way. And everything they try. Proper planning prevents poor performance. That's the 5 P's. He created a plan by which to attain the purpose, but he burned all the bridges behind him. He stood by his desire until it became the dominating obsession of his life and finally a fact. When he went to Orange, New Jersey, He did not say to himself, I will try to induce Edison to give me a job of some sort. He said, I will see Edison and put him on notice that I have come to go into business with him. He did not say, I will work there for a few months. And if I get no encouragement, I will quit and I'll get a job somewhere else. No. What he did say was, I will start anywhere. I will do anything Edison tells me to do, but before I am through, I will be his business associate. He did not say, I'll keep my eyes open for another opportunity in case I fail to get what I want in the Edison organization. No. He said, there is but one thing in this world that I am determined to have, and that is a business association with Thomas A. Edison. I will burn all the bridges behind me and stake my entire future on my ability to get what I want. Give me a second. I gotta get a towel. He left himself no possible way of retreat. He had to win or perish, sink or swim. I heard that. That is all there is to the Barnes story of success. A long while ago, a great warrior faced a situation which made it necessary for him to make a decision which ensured his success on the battlefield. He was about to send his armies against a powerful foe whose men outnumbered his own. He loaded his soldiers into boats, sailed into the enemy's country, unloaded the soldiers and equipment, then gave the orders to burn the ships that had carried them. Hold on, guys. All right, that's better. Trying to read on the screen. Have you guys heard of that story? Burn the boats. Burn the boats. Burn the boats. What are you talking about? This is a true story. This is a true story of a soldier who, I'm gonna read it again. He loaded all of his soldiers into boats, sailed into the enemy's country, unloaded the soldiers and the equipment off the boats, then gave the order to burn the ships that carried them there. Addressing his men before the first battle, he said, "You see the boats going up in smoke? That means we cannot leave these shores alive unless we win. We now have no choice. We win or we perish." And they won. Those soldiers won. Every person who wins in any undertaking must be willing to burn the ships and cut all sources of retreat. Only by doing so can one be sure of maintaining that state of mind, knowing as burning desire to win, essential to success. I'm sorry, I'm getting messages over here. You got to burn the ships, you guys. No retreat. That's right, RCC. You see what RCC is saying in the chat? You have to burn the ships. There's no plan B. There's no plan B. There's no alternatives. There's no, oh, well, you know what? Maybe I'll try something else in case this don't work. I'll try something else in case this don't work. This transcends to relationships as well. This transcends to everything you do. Everybody always talking about the backup plan. What's your backup plan? Fuck a backup plan. Ain't no backup plan. Sink or swim. Win or die. We got here. We burned the ships that carried us here. We either walk out of here alive because we won the war or we die. The morning after the Great Chicago Fire, a group of merchants stood on the State Street looking at the smoking remains of what had been their stores. You guys remember the Chicago Fire? You ever heard the story or read the story of the Great Chicago Fire? Read it. Read about that fire. The whole damn city was on fire. They went into a conference to decide if they would try to rebuild or leave Chicago and start over in a more promising section of the country. They reached a decision, all except one, to leave Chicago. The merchant who decided to stay, only one person decided to stay in Chicago. Everybody else said, man, we out of here. Everything burned down. The stores are burned down. There's no more buildings. The buildings are gone. What do we do? Everybody decided to leave Chicago, but one person. One person stayed. The merchant who decided to stay and rebuild pointed a finger at the remains of his store and said, gentlemen, on that very spot, I will build the world's greatest store, no matter how many times it may burn down. That was more than 50 years ago. The store was built. It stands there today, a towering monument to the power of that state of mind known as a burning desire. The easy thing for Marshall Field to have done would have been to exactly what his fellow merchants did, pack up and leave. When the going was hard and the future looked dismal, they pulled up and went where the going seemed easier. Mark well this difference between Marshall Field and the other merchants, because it is the same difference that distinguishes Edwin C. Barnes from thousands of other young men who worked in Edison's organization. It is the same difference that distinguishes practically all who succeed from those that fail, including you. It's the difference between you and all your family, you and all your friends, you and all your frat brothers and sorority sisters. Everybody goes the easy route. Are you willing to do the hard work? Every human being who reaches the age of understanding of the purpose of money wishes for it. Wishing will not bring riches. Sorry. But desiring riches with a state of mind that becomes an obsession, then planning definite ways to and means to acquire the riches and backing those plans up with persistence, which does not recognize failure, will bring your riches. It'll make you rich and wealthy. The method by which desire for riches can be transmuted into its financial equivalent consists of 6 definite practical steps. All right, here we're going to go through the 6 definite practical steps, you guys. We're going to go through the 6 definite practical steps. Let me just run through the chat. I don't think anybody sent anything or anything I need to address. I know you guys are talking in the chat. As long as you're listening to me, that's all that matters. You could talk in the chat. We all can chew gum and walk at the same time. We all can chew gum and walk at the same time. You guys can have a conversation in the chat and listen to your boy Shan at the same time. As long as you're getting this, you're getting it subconsciously. The method by which desire for riches can be transmuted into its financial equivalent consists of 6 definite practical steps. First, fix in your mind the exact amount of money that you desire. Remember, I told you this book is a instruction manual. It's not just a make you feel good book. You have to do the things that this book talks about. Here's your first step. Here's your first. I hope you have a pen. Write this stuff down, you guys. First, fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. It is not sufficient to merely say, I want plenty of money. First, be definite as to the amount. There's a psychological reason for definiteness, which will be described in the subsequent chapter. So if you want $10 million, say $10 million. You can't just say, I want to be good. If you think $750,000 is what you want, you have to say $750,000. You have to write that down, you guys. And listen, You could say something like 500 million. You could say something like a billion. If you do the work for that. If you want to be a little bit more practical, you could say something like 1.5 million. You need 1.9 million after retirement to live the rest of your life. So you may say, I just want $2 million. I'm looking for 2 million, but you have to be definite. You may say right now, I just need 125,000 because it may be something that you want. Maybe it's a thing. Maybe the purpose of you reading this book is because there's a thing that you want. Maybe it's a car. Maybe it's a condominium. Maybe it's a house. And that house costs 400,000 and you need 25% down. So you need 100 grand. Say I need $100,000. That has to be a definite number. Once again, first, be definite as to the amount. There's a psychological reason for definiteness, which will be described in a subsequent chapter. Second, determine exactly what you intend to give in return for what you desire. There's no such thing as something for nothing. Determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money. There's no such thing as something for nothing. Third, establish a definite date on the calendar. I should bring up my calendar. Establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money you desire. So if you say, look, I'm looking for $250,000. I need $250,000. And this is what I'm going to do for my $250,000. And this is when I have to have it on a date. You can't just say, about 5 years from now. No, a specific date, you guys. A month, a day, a year. A month, a day, a year. You cannot just say by 2025. You cannot just say by 2023. You cannot just say by summertime in 2022. No, you have to have a month, a day, and a year. You have to write that down. Fourth, you must create a definite plan. Plan. You must create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you are ready or not to put this plan into action. You must create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you are ready or not to put this plan into action. Number 5, write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire. Name the time limit for its acquisition. State what you intend to give in return for that money. And describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. Basically, number 5 is parts of number 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Number 5 is you have to write out a concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire. Name the time limit for its acquisition and state what you intend to give in return for the money. And describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. I told you guys, this book has made millionaires. You can't just sit around talking about you want to be a millionaire. You got to do the work. Sorry. You got to do the work. 6, read your written statement out loud twice daily. Once before retiring at night. That means one time before bed. And once after rising in the morning. One time before you brush your teeth. When you wake up. As you read it, see and feel and believe yourself already in possession of the money. Read your written statement aloud twice daily, once before retiring at night and once after arising in the morning. As you read, see and feel and believe you're already in possession of the money. Do you realize a lot of people that read this book fail to do this first step? This is just one of the things you got to do. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, this is just one of the things you have to do. This book, we're only in chapter 2. Do you know how many people didn't even write down the amount of money they want? Did not write down what they're willing to do to get the money? Did not write down the time in which they plan to have the money? And did not come up with a plan to get it? Then those that did do that wouldn't even go to bed and read it. out loud. You can't say it in your mind. You can't go like this. It's not like praying quietly. You have to, he says that you have to read it out loud using your vocal cords. You got to say it. When you go to bed, you got to wake up in the morning and say it again. You don't, and there's no days off. You do it 7 days a week. 7 days a week. 28 days in February, 29 in the leap year. It is important that you follow the instructions described in these 6 steps. It is especially important that you observe and follow the instructions in the 6th paragraph. You may complain that it is impossible for you to see yourself in possession of the money before you actually have it. Here is where a burning desire will come to your aid. If you truly desire money so keenly that you desire is an obsession, you will have no difficulty in convincing yourself that you will acquire it. The object is to want money and to become so determined to have it that you convince yourself that you will have it. We're talking about money, but say it's not money. Say it's your career. What if you're a model and it's your modeling career? Replace money with your modeling career. With a successful modeling career. Say it's a piece of equipment. Say it's a $10,000 medium format Hasselblad camera. And you're a photographer with a DSLR, but you want to step up to that medium format camera, and that sucker's 10 grand. You replace money with the camera that you want. You just say that. Say it's a Mercedes-Benz S500 2022 model. You replace Mercedes-Benz with the money. It doesn't matter what it is, you guys. But you have to follow these steps. You cannot deviate. You can't do some of it. Sorry. Only those who become money conscious, ever accumulate riches. Money conscious means that the mind has become so thoroughly saturated with the desire for money that one can see oneself already in possession of it. You already have that camera. You already have that Mercedes. You already have that modeling career. You already have that. Maybe you want to be a police officer. You're already on the force. You're already part of the sheriff department. To the uninitiated, who has not been schooled in the working principle of the human mind, these instructions may appear impractical. This is where I wish I had a conversation with the lead attorney. We were talking about the law of attraction last night on the network. I wish he was here reading this book with us. To the uninitiated who has not been schooled in the working principles of the human mind, these instructions may appear impractical. It's silly. This is silly talk. This is nonsense. It's ridiculous. What you thinking about? Think about money. Think and grow rich. Thinking about it. It's silly. Say it every morning when you wake up. Say it every night before you go to bed. Write it down. What for? It's silly. It may be helpful to all those who fail to recognize the soundness of the 6 steps to know that the information they convey was received from Andrew Carnegie, who began as an ordinary laborer in the steel mills, but managed to, despite his humble beginnings, to make these principles yield him a fortune of considerably more than $100 million of 1925 money. We already know how many billions that is. It may be further help to know that these 6 steps here recommended were carefully scrutinized by the late Thomas A. Edison, who placed his stamp of approval upon them as being not only the steps essential for the accumulation of money, but necessary for the attainment of any definite goal. It's not only for money. Thomas A. Edison said it's for anything you want to do. The steps call for no hard labor. The steps call for no hard labor. You guys, you don't have to work out. You don't have to swing an axe. It's not telling you that you got to do push-ups until you get muscle failure. It's not requiring you to go run 10 miles. These steps call for no hard labor, you guys. It's not hard. So why not? They call for no sacrifice. They do not require one to become ridiculous or credulous. To apply them calls for no great amount of education. You don't have to have a college degree to do the 6 things we just talked about. But the successful application of these 6 steps does call for sufficient imagination to enable one to see and to understand that accumulation of money cannot be left to chance. Good for fortune and luck. You can't just think that it's going to be good luck and it's going to happen for you. One must realize that all who have accumulated great fortunes first did a certain amount of dreaming, hoping, wishing, desiring, and planning before they became rich. You may as well know right here that you can never have riches in great quantities unless you can work yourself into a white heat of desire for money and actually believe you possess it. You got to actually believe you possess it. You may as well know also that every great leader from the dawn of civilization down to the present, 2021, was a dreamer. Christianity is the greatest potential power in the world today because its founder was an intense dreamer who had the vision and imagination to see realities in their mental and spiritual form before they had ever transmuted into its physical form. If you do not see great riches in your imagination, you will never see them in your bank account. God, that's a bar. I'm sorry, you guys, that's a bar. If you do not see great riches in your imagination, you will never see them in your bank balance. Never in the history of America has there ever been so great an opportunity for practical dreamers as now exists. The 6-year economic collapse, this is way back in the day. The 6-year economic collapse has reduced all men substantially to the same level. A new race is about to be run. The stakes represent huge fortunes for those that will be accumulated within the next 10 years. The rules of this race, this could be attributed to cryptocurrency, you guys. This could be attributed to the metaverse, Internet 3.0. It's everything is about to be reset and nobody will have excuses as to why they can't win because they're about to start the race over again. Cryptocurrency, metaverse, Internet 3.0. A new race is about to be run. The stakes represent huge fortunes that will be accumulated within the next 10 years. The rules of this race have changed because we now live in a changed world that definitely favors the masses those who had but little to no opportunity to win under conditions existing during the Great Depression, when fear paralyzed growth and development. It's crazy that this stuff is actually, this book was written in 1925 and was released in 1938. And everything he's talking about is actually good for today. Say it's not. This is actually good for today, ladies and gentlemen. We who are in this race for riches, Internet 3.0, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Shibe, Ethereum, Internet 3.0, yes, right? Smartphones, communication. We who are in this new race for riches should be encouraged to know that this changed world in which we live is demanding new ideas, new ways of doing things, new leaders, new inventions, new methods of teaching, new methods of marketing, new books, new literature, new features for the radio and television and the internet and YouTube, new ideas for moving pictures. Back of all this demand for new and better things, there is one quality which one must possess to win, and that is definiteness of purpose. The knowledge of what one wants and a burning desire to possess it. Basically, you guys could sit back and let this new race pass you by like you let all the last ones do. Remember when the internet came around in 2000? Remember when Bitcoin was released in 2010? It was actually released in 07, 08. It was when it was only a nickel. You could sit back if you want to and let it pass you by again. Or you could hang out here with your boy Shan and we can grab onto this. You could come with your boy Shan and we can grab onto this. The business depression marked the death of one age and the birth of another. This changed world requires practical dreamers who can and will put their dreams into action. The practical dreamers have always been and always will be the pattern makers of civilization. We who desire to accumulate riches should remember the real leaders of the world always have been men and women who harnessed and put into practical use the intangible, unseen forces of unborn opportunity and have converted those forces or impulses of thought into skyscrapers, cities, factories, airplanes, automobiles, and every form of convenience that makes life more pleasant. Tolerance and an open mind are practical necessities of the dreamer of today. Those who are afraid of new ideas are doomed before they start. Let me read that again. Did you catch that? Those who are afraid of new ideas are doomed from the start. Never has there been a time more favorable to pioneers than the present. True, there's no wild and woolly west to be conquered. There's no more wild, wild west. There's no more bears and tigers to go out there and capture. You know, you don't have to hunt your food down and shit. There's no wild and woolly west to be conquered as in the days of the covered wagon. But there is a vast business, financial, and industrial world to be remodeled and redirected along new and better lines. In planning to acquire your share of the riches, let no one influence you to scorn the dreamer. To win the big stakes in this changed world, you must catch the spirit of the great pioneers of the past, whose dreams have given to civilization all that has of value, the spirit which serves as the lifeblood of our own country, your opportunity and mine to develop and market our talents. Let us not forget, my friends, Columbus dreamed of an unknown world. He staked his life on the existence of such a world and discovered it. Copernicus. I know how to say this. This word fucks me up. Copernicus, the great astronomer, dreamed of a multiplicity of worlds and revealed them. No one denounced him as impractical after he had triumphed. Instead, the world worshipped at his shrine, thus proving once more that success requires no apologies, failures permit no alibis. If the thing you wish to do is right and you believe in it, here, I'm talking to you guys. All right, look at me. Everybody look at the screen. If the thing that you wish to do is right and you believe in it, go ahead and do it. Put your dreams across and never mind what they say, you guys. If you meet with temporary defeat, for they perhaps do not know that every failure brings with it the seed of an equivalent success. Henry Ford, poor and uneducated, dreamed of a horseless carriage, a car. He went to work with what tools he possessed without waiting for an opportunity to favor him, and now evidence of his dream belts the entire earth. Cars are everywhere. He has put more wheels into operation than any man who ever lived because he was not afraid to back up his dreams. Thomas Edison dreamed of a lamp that could be operated by electricity. He began where he stood to put his dream into action. And despite more than 10 1,000 failures. He stood by that dream until he made it a physical reality. Practical dreamers do not quit. Practical dreamers do not quit. We don't quit over here. Not in the SR Army. Ain't no quitters over here. If you guys want to be around us, quitting is out of the option. It's not even on the list. Wellen dreamed of a chain of cigar stores, transformed his dream into action, and now the United Cigar Stores occupy the best corners in America. Abraham Lincoln dreamed of freedom for the black slaves. He put his dream into action and barely missed living to see a united North and South translate his dreams into reality. The Wright brothers dreamed of a machine that would fly through the air. Who can imagine that? Imagine yourself back in the day. A machine that flies in the air? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? A machine that flies in the air? Are you crazy? Now, one may see evidence all over the world that they dream so soundly. You fly in airplanes all the time. That was somebody's dream, you guys. And it was a stupid and crazy dream to most people. Marconi dreamed of a system for harnessing the intangible forces of the ether. Evidence that he did not dream in vain may he found in every wireless radio in the world. Marconi dreamed of a system that harnesses intangible forces in the ether, radio waves, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, satellite. Evidence that he did not dream in vain may he found in every wireless radio in the world. Moreover, Marconi's dream brought the humblest cabin and the most stately mannered house side by side. It made people of every nation on earth backdoor neighbors. We're all connected, you guys. Where's that camera at? We're all connected with a device that allows us to call anybody anywhere on the planet. You know how crazy that sounds? You know how crazy that sounded 100 years ago? 150 years ago, 200 years ago? That was ridiculous to think that you can create a machine that would allow you to talk to another human being on the other side of the planet at will. That was sorcery. That was witchcraft to even think that you can create something like that. But now you got an iPhone. Now you guys are watching me live. It gave the President of the United States a medium by which he may talk to all people of America at one time and on short notice. It may interest you to know that Marconi's friends had him taken in. Let me read this part. It may interest you to know the guy who thought about radios and radio waves. His friends had him taken into custody and examined in the psychopathic hospital when he announced that he discovered a principle through which he could send messages through the air. Without the aid of wires or other direct physical means of communication, the dreamers of today fare better. He was taken to a psychiatric hospital because they thought he was crazy, that somehow that we'd be able to communicate wirelessly. You telling me that you got ideas that can't happen? You sitting back idly just chilling? Are you kidding me? The world has become accustomed to no new discoveries. Nay, it has shown willingness to reward the dreamer who gives the world a new idea. The greatest achievement was at first for a time, but a dream. The greatest achievement was first for just a small shorter time, just a dream. The oak sleeps in the acorn. The bird waits inside of an egg. And in the highest vision of the soul, a waking angel stirs. Dreams are the seedlings of reality. Awake, arise, and assert yourself, you dreamers of the world. Your star is now the ascendancy. The world depression brought the opportunity you have been waiting for. It taught people humility, tolerance, and an open-mindedness. The world is filled with an abundance of opportunity that the dreamers of the past never knew. A burning desire to be and to do is the starting point from which the dreamer must take off. Dreams are not born of indifference, laziness, or lack of ambition. I repeat, dreams are not born of indifference, laziness, or lack of ambition. The world no longer scoffs at the dreamer nor calls him impractical. Not no more. If you think it does, take a trip to Tennessee and witness what a dreamer president has done in the way of harnessing and using the great water power of America. A score of years ago, such a dream would have seemed like madness. You have been disappointed. You have undergone defeat during the Depression. You have felt the great heart within you crushed until it bled. Take courage, for those experiences have tempered the spiritual mental of which you are made. They are assets of incomparable value. Remember, too, that all who succeed in life get off to a bad start and pass through many heartbreaking struggles before they, quote unquote, arrive. The turning point in the lives of those who succeed usually come at the moment of some crisis through which they are introduced to their other selves. I'll say that again. The turning point for most dreamers in the lives of those who succeed usually come at the moment of some kind of crisis in their life, some calamity through which they are introduced to their other selves. They suddenly are shown the other version of themselves through some bad shit that happens to them. Just keep it 100. John Bunyan wrote The Pilgrim's Progress, which is among the finest of all English literature, after he had been confined in prison and sorely punished because of his views on the subject of religion. O. Henry discovered the genius which slept within his brain after he had met with the great misfortune and was confined in a prison cell in Columbus, Ohio. Being forced through misfortune to become acquainted with his other self and to use his imagination, he discovered himself to be a great author instead of a miserable criminal and outcast. Strange and varied are the ways of life, and stranger still are the ways of infinite intelligence, through which men and women are sometimes forced to undergo all sorts of punishment before discovering their own brains and their own capacity to create useful ideas through imagination. Edison, Thomas A. Edison, the world's greatest inventor and scientist, was a tramp. He was a tramp telegraph operator. He failed innumerable times before he was driven finally to the discovery of the genius which slept within his brain. Charles Dickens, you guys know the author Charles Dickens, began pasting labels of blackening pots. The tragedy of his first love penetrated the depths of his soul and converted him into one of the world's truly great authors. I wonder what happened to Charles Dickens' first love. I don't know the story. Anybody know the story of what happened to Charles Dickens' great love? But whatever it was, it turned him into a great poet. That tragedy produced first David Copperfield, then a succession of other works that made this a richer and better world for all who read his books. Disappointment over love affairs generally has the effect of driving men to drink and women to ruin. And this because most people never learn the art of transmuting their strongest emotions into dreams of a constructive nature. Helen Keller became deaf dumb, and blind. Imagine that. Helen Keller became deaf, dumb, and blind shortly after birth. Despite her greatest misfortune, she has written her name indelibly in the pages of the history of the great. Her entire life has served as evidence that no one ever is defeated until defeat has been accepted as a reality. Her entire life has been served as evidence that no one is ever truly defeated until defeat has been accepted as a reality. You only lose if you accept loss. Kanye West. Can we use Kanye West as an example? If you believe that you lost, then you're a loser. But if you believe like Kanye West does, I mean, can we really argue that? Robert Burns was an illiterate country lad. He was cursed by poverty and grew up to be a drunkard in the bargain. The world was made better for his having lived because he clothed beautiful thoughts in poetry and thereby plucked a thorn and planted a rose in its place. Booker T. Washington was born in slavery, handicapped by race and color. Because he was tolerant and had an open mind at all times, on all subjects, and was a dreamer, he left his impress for good on an entire race of people. Beethoven was deaf. Milton was blind, but their names will last as long as time endures because they deemed and translated their dreams into organized thought. How many guys actually knew that Beethoven he couldn't hear his own music? Beethoven was deaf, ladies and gentlemen. For those that don't know or don't remember, Beethoven was deaf. He could not hear his own symphonies. He had to feel them through vibrations. Before passing into the next chapter, kindle anew in your mind the fire of hope, faith, courage, and tolerance. If you have these states of mind and a working knowledge of the principles described, all else that you will need will come to you when you are ready for it, though. Let Emerson state the thoughts in these words. Every proverb in every book by every byword that belongs to thee for aid and comfort shall surely come home through open or winding passages. Every friend whom not thy fantastic will, but the great and tender soul in thee craveth, shall lock thee in his embrace. There is a difference between wishing for a thing, my friends, and being ready to receive it. I repeat that. There's a difference between wishing for a thing and being ready to receive it. No one is ready for a thing until he believes that he can acquire it. The state of mind must be belief, not mere hope and wish. Open-mindedness is essential for belief. Closed minds do not inspire faith, courage, and belief. Remember, no more effort is required to aim high in life. No more effort is required to aim high in life, to demand abundance and prosperity than is required to accept misery and poverty. Let me read it again. Remember, no more effort is required to aim high in life, to demand abundance and prosperity than is required to accept misery and poverty. It's the same amount of effort. It's the same amount of thinking. No more effort is required to aim high in life, to demand abundance and prosperity than is required to accept misery and poverty. A great poet has correctly stated this universal truth through these lines. I bargain with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. However, I begged at evening when I counted my scanty store. For life is just an employer. He gives you what you ask. But once you have set the wages, why must you bear the task? I worked for a menial's hire. only to learn dismayed that any wage I had asked of life, life would have willingly paid. Ooh, let me read that again. I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. That's the bargain. That's what you ask life for. If you only ask for a penny, that's what life is going to give you. I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. However, I begged at evening when I counted my scanty store. For life is just an employer. He gives you what you ask. But once you have set the wages, why must you bear the task? I worked for a menial's hire, only to learn dismayed that any wage I had asked of life, life would have willingly paid. Basically, if you ask for a penny, you're going to get a penny. You're going to still have to do the same amount of fucking work. And then don't complain in the evening when you look at your scantily store and realize a penny wasn't enough, that you complain about it now. Because if you would have asked for a hefty amount, life would have gave you that too for doing the same fucking work. For doing the same amount of work, you would have got paid more if you had only asked for it. Desire outwits Mother Nature. As a fitting climax to this chapter, I wish to introduce one of the most unusual persons I have ever known. I first saw him 24 years ago, a few minutes after he was born. He came into the world without any physical sign of ears. He had no ears. And the doctor admitted when pressed for an opinion that the child might be deaf and muted for life. So he was born with no ears. I challenged the doctor's opinion. I had the right to do so. I was the child's father. I, too, reached a decision and rendered an opinion, but I expressed the opinion silently. I didn't tell everybody what I was thinking. In the secrecy of my own heart, I decided that my son would hear and speak. Nature could send me a child without any ears, but nature could not induce me to accept the reality of the affliction. In my own mind, I knew that my son would hear and speak. How? I was sure there must be a way, and I knew I would find it. I thought of the words of the immortal Emerson. The whole curse of things goes to teach us faith. We need only to obey. There is guidance for each of us. In lowly listening, we shall hear the right words. The right word, desire. More than anything else, I desired that my son should not be a deaf mute. From that desire, I never receded, not for a single fucking second. Many years previously, I had written, our only limitation are those we set up in our own minds. For the first time, I wondered if that statement were true. Lying on the bed in front of me was a newly born child without the natural equipment of hearing. He was born with no ears. Even though he might hear and speak, he was obviously disfigured for life. Surely this was a limitation of that child had not set up in his own mind. What could I do about it? Somehow I would find a way to transplant into that child's mind my own burning desire for ways and means of conveying sound to his brain without the aid of ears. As soon as the child was old enough to cooperate, I would fill in his mind so completely with a burning desire to hear that nature would, by methods of her own, translate into a physical reality. All this thinking took place in my own mind. Law of attraction. All this thinking took place in my own mind, but I spoke of it to no one. Every day I renewed the pledge I had made to myself not to accept a deaf mute for a son. As he grew older and began to take notice of things around him, we observed that he had a slight degree of hearing. When he reached the age children usually begin talking, he made no attempt to speak, but could tell by his actions that he could hear certain sounds slightly. That was all I wanted to know. I was convinced that if he could hear even slightly, he might develop still greater hearing capacity. Then something happened which gave me hope. It came from an entirely unexpected source. We bought a Victrola. When the child heard the music, you know what a Victrola is? It's the record player with the big horn on it. Hold on one second, guys. Ugh. We bought a Victrola. When the child heard the music for the first time, he went into ecstasies and promptly appropriated the machine. He took that machine from his pop. He soon showed a preference for certain records. Among them, It's a Long Way to Tipperary. On one occasion, he played that piece over and over for almost 2 solid hours, standing in front of the Victrola with his teeth clamped on the edge of the case. The significance of this self-formed habit of his did not become clear to us until years afterward. We had never heard of the principle of bone conduction. We didn't know why he was grabbing the record player. The kid would grab the record player and listen to it. They didn't understand. Why are you grabbing the record player as it plays? Like, what's the point in grabbing it? It's playing audibly. We can hear it from across the room, but you keep grabbing it. For we had never heard of the principle of bone conduction of sound at the time. Shortly after he appropriated the Victrola, after he took it from us, I discovered that he could hear me quite clearly when I spoke with my lips touching his mastoid bone or at the base of his brain. He could hear me whenever I touched him. I had to touch him though. That's wild. I discovered that he could hear me quite clearly when I spoke with my lips touching his mastoid bone or at the base of his brain. These discoveries placed in my possession the necessary media by which I began to translate into reality my burning desire to help my son develop hearing and speech. By that time, he was making stabs at speaking certain words. The outlook was far from encouraging, but desire backed by faith knows no such word as impossible. Having determined that he could hear the sound of my voice plainly, I began immediately to transfer to his mind the desire to hear and speak. I soon discovered that the child enjoyed bedtime stories. So I went to work creating stories designed to develop in him self-reliance, imagination, and a keen desire to hear and to be normal. There was one story in particular which I emphasized by giving it some new and dramatic coloring each time it was told. It was designed to plant in his mind the thought that his affliction was not a liability, but an asset of great value. Despite the fact that all the philosophy I had examined clearly indicated that every adversity brings with it the seed of an equivalent advantage. I must confess that I had not the slightest idea how this affliction could ever become an asset. However, I continued my practice of wrapping that philosophy in bedtime stories to my son, hoping the time would come when he would find some plan by which his handicap could be made to serve some useful purpose. Reason told me plainly that there was no adequate compensation for the lack of ears and natural hearing equipment. Desire, backed by faith, pushed the reason aside and inspired me to carry on. As I analyzed the experience in retrospect, I can now see that my son's faith in me had much to do with the astounding results. He did not question anything I told him. I sold him the idea that he had a distinct advantage over his older brother, and that this advantage would reflect itself in many ways. For example, the teachers in school would observe that he had no ears, And because of this, they would show him like special attention and treat him give him extraordinary kindness. They always did. His mother saw to that by visiting the teachers and arranging with them to give the child extra attention necessary. I sold him the idea, too, that when he became old enough to sell newspapers, his older brother had already become a newspaper merchant, that he would have a big advantage over his brother for the reason that people would pay him extra money for his wares because they could see that he was a bright, industrious boy despite the fact that he had no ears. People would pay him extra money because he had no ears. We would notice that gradually the child's hearing was improving. Moreover, he had not the slightest tendency to be self-conscious because of his affliction. When he was about 7 years old, he showed the first evidence that our method of servicing his mind was bearing fruit. For several months, he begged for the privilege of selling newspapers, but his mother would not give her consent. She was afraid that his deafness made it unsafe for him to go out on the street all by himself, especially back in those days. Finally, he took the matters into his own hands. One afternoon, when he was left at home with the servants, he climbed through the kitchen window, shimmied down to the ground, and set out on his own. He basically snuck out the house. He borrowed 6 cents in capital from his neighborhood shoemaker. He invested it in papers, sold out all the newspapers, reinvested it, and kept repeating until late in the evening. After balancing his accounts and paying back the 6 cents that he originally borrowed from his banker, he had a net profit of 42 cents. So he took 6 cents and flipped it into 42. This is a 7-year-old boy who snuck out the house one day. When he got home that night, we found him in bed all asleep with the money clenched in his hand. His mother opened his hand, removed the money, and cried. Of all things, crying over her son's first victory seemed so inappropriate. My reaction was the reverse. I did the exact opposite of what mom did. Most husbands, most men do, don't we, fellas? My reaction was the exact opposite of hers. I laughed heartily, for I knew that my endeavor to plant in the child's mind an attitude of faith in himself had been successful. His mother saw in his first business venture a little deaf boy who had gone out in the streets and risked his life to earn some money. I saw a brave, ambitious, self-reliant little businessman whose stock in himself had been increased 100% because he had gone into business on his own initiative and he had won. The transaction pleased me. It pleases fathers. This is why dads are necessary. The transaction pleased me because I knew that he had given evidence of a trait of resourcefulness that would go with him all through life. Later events proved this to be true. When his older brother wanted something, he would lie down on the floor, kick his feet in the air, and cry and get it. When the little deaf boy wanted something, he would plan a way to earn the money, then buy it for himself. He still follows that plan. Right? I see you, Let's Talk Beats. I see you, Lakeisha. Exactly. Mom was upset, crying. Dad was like, good job, son. Mom was upset. Dad was like, good job. The older little boy, when he wants something, he gets on the floor, he kicks his feet and cries and begs. The little deaf boy, he comes up with a plan and he hustles it up and go gets it himself. Truly, my own son has taught me that handicaps can be converted into stepping stones on which one may climb towards some worthy goal, unless they are accepted as obstacles and used as alibis. The little deaf boy went through the grades, high school, and college without being able to hear his teachers talk to him, except when they shouted loudly and at close range. He did not go to a school for the deaf. He didn't go to school for the deaf. We would not permit him to learn sign language. We were determined that he should live a normal life and associate with normal children, and we stood by that decision, although it cost us many heated debates with school officials. While he was in high school, he tried an electrical hearing aid, but it was no value to him, due, we believed, to a condition that was disclosed when the child was 6 years old by Dr. J. Gordon Wilson of Chicago when he operated on one side of the boy's head and discovered that there was no sign of natural hearing equipment. He had no eardrums. Not only did he not have ears, he didn't even have no eardrums. He didn't have natural hearing equipment. While he was in high school, he tried during his last week in college, 18 years after the operation, something happened which marked the most important turning point in his life. Through what seemed to be a mere chance, he came into possession of another electrical hearing device, which was sent to him on a trial. He was slow about testing it due to his disappointment with the other similar device. Finally, he picked up the instrument and more or less carelessly kind of like placed it on his head and hooked up the battery, and lo, as if by a stroke of magic, his lifelong desire for normal hearing became a reality. For the first time in his life, he heard practically as well as any person with normal hearing. God moves in mysterious ways, his wonders to perform. Overjoyed because of the changed world, which had been brought to him through his hearing device, he rushed to the telephone, called his mother, and heard her voice perfectly. The next day, he plainly heard, it's working. The system is working. Forget the little zombie. I'm going to change all of those signs. So now we see the system is working. Now we see the system is working. I like it. That's what's up. Yo, shout out to Just Right Music for the $10 super chat. I appreciate you, Just Right Music, for supporting the channel. Thank you so much. Thank you for helping me continue to do this work. Thank you so much for helping me continue to do this work. Overjoyed because of the changes of the world which had been brought to him through his hearing device, he rushed to the telephone, called his mother, and heard her voice perfectly. The next day, he plainly heard voices of his professors in class for the first time in life. Previously, he could hear them only when they shouted at short range. He heard the radio. He heard the talking pictures television. For the first time in his life, he can converse freely with other people without the necessity of having to speak loudly. Truly, he had come into possession of a changed world. We had refused to accept nature's error, and by persistent desire, we had induced nature to correct that error through the only practical means available. Desire had commenced to pay dividends, but the victory was not yet complete. The boy still had a definite and practical way to convert his handicap into an equivalent asset. Hardly realizing the significance of what had already been accomplished, but intoxicated with the joy of his newly discovered world of sound, he wrote a letter to the manufacturer of the hearing aid, enthusiastically describing his experience. Something in his letter, something perhaps which was not written on the lines but back of them, caused the company to invite him to New York. This letter, somehow, something he maybe has said, some sentiment that he put across in his words in his letter, had the company invite him to come to New York. When he arrived, he was escorted through the factory, and while talking with the chief engineer, telling him about his changed world, a hunch, an idea, or an inspiration, call it what you wish, flashed into my son's mind. It was this simple impulse of thought which converted his affliction into an asset destined to pay dividends in both money and happiness to thousands for all time to come. The sum and substance of that impulse of thought was this. It occurred to him that he might be of help to the millions of deaf people who go through life without the benefit of a hearing device if he could find a way to tell them the story of his changed world. Then and there, he reached a decision to devote the remainder of his life to rendering useful service to the hard of hearing. For an entire month, he carried on an intensive research during which he analyzed the entire marketing system of the manufacturer of his hearing device. He created ways and means of communication with the hard of hearing all over the world for the purpose of sharing with them this newly discovered changed world. When this was done, he put in writing a 2-year plan. Based upon his findings, when he presented the plan to the company, he was instantly given a position for the purpose of carrying out his ambition with the company. Little did he dream when he went to work that he was destined to bring hope and practical relief to thousands of deaf people who, without his help, would have been doomed forever to deaf mutism. Shortly after he became associated with the manufacturer of his hearing aid, he invited me to attend a class conducted by his company for the purpose of teaching deaf mutes how to hear and to speak. I had never heard of such a form of education. Therefore, I visited the class, skeptical but hopeful that my time would not be entirely wasted. Here I saw a demonstration which gave me a greatly enlarged vision of what I had done to arouse and keep alive in my son's mind the desire for normal hearing. I saw deaf mutes actually being taught to hear and to speak through application of self-same principle I had used more than 20 years previously in saving my son from deaf mutism. Thus, through some strange turn of the wheel of fate, my son, Blair, and I have been destined to aid in the correcting deaf mutism for those as of yet unborn, because we are the only human beings, the only living human beings at the time, as far as I know, who have established definitely the fact that deaf mutism can be corrected to the extent of restoring to normal life those who suffer with this affliction. It has been done for one, it will be done for others. There is no doubt in my mind that my son Blair would have been deaf mute all his life if his mother and I had not managed to shape in his mind as we did. The doctor who attended at his birth told us confidently that the child might never hear or speak. A few weeks ago, Dr. Irving Voorhees, a noted specialist on such cases, examined Blair very thoroughly. He was astounded when he learned how well my son now hears and speaks, and said his examination indicated that theoretically the boy should not be able to hear at all. I mean, he don't have no damn eardrums. But the lad does hear, despite the fact that X-ray pictures show there is no opening in his skull whatsoever from where his ears should be to his brain. It's closed. The bone is closed. There's no opening. When I planted in his mind the desire to hear and talk and live as a normal person, there went that impulse, some strange influence which caused nature to become bridge builder and span the gulf of silence between his brain and the outer world by some means which the keenest medical specialists have not been able to interpret. It would be sacrilege for me to even conjecture as how nature performed this miracle. It would be unforgivable if I neglected to tell the world as much as I know of the humble part I assumed in the strange experience. It is my duty and a privilege to say I believe, and not without any reason, that nothing is impossible to the person who backs desire and with enduring faith. Nothing is impossible to the person who backs desire with faith. Verily, a burning desire has devious ways of transmuting itself into physical form. into its physical equivalent. Blair desired normal hearing. Now he has it. It's just that simple. His son Blair desired to hear normally. Now he does. He was born with a handicap which might easily have sent one with less defined desire to the street with a bundle of pencils and a tin cup. That handicap now promises to serve as the medium by which he will render useful service to millions of hard of hearing. Also, to give him useful employment at adequate financial compensation the remainder of his natural born life. The little white lies I planted in his mind when he was a little child, by leading him to believe his affliction would become a great asset, which he could capitalize, has justified itself. Verily, did you catch that? That's what I meant by playing the right. Stop playing music in the car with your children. He just spoke about what we talked about before we started reading, guys. Sidebar. Everybody look up sidebar. He's talking about right now what I was talking about. When you drive and your children are in the car, do not play Cardi B. Don't play Meg Thee Stallion. Turn off Jay-Z. No Drake. Instead, play self-help podcasts by Les Brown. Play self-help podcasts by Eric Thomas. And let that subconsciously burn into your children's mind. Let that subconsciously burn. While you're in the car, don't bop to the latest beat, a new song on the radio. Turn that shit off. Pipe in a podcast and play some self-help stuff for your children to listen to. It's a short drive. Let that happen. Because the little white lies that he placed in his son's mind when he was a child, by leading him to believe his affliction would become a great asset, which he capitalized, has justified itself. Verily, there is nothing right or wrong which belief plus a burning desire cannot make real. These qualities are free to everyone. In all my experience in dealing with men and women who had personal problems, I'd never handled a single case which more definitely demonstrates the power of desire. Authors sometimes make the mistake of writing the subjects of which they have but superficial or very elementary knowledge. It has been my good fortune to have the privilege of testing the soundness of power of desire through the affliction of my own son. Perhaps it was providential that the experience came as it did, for surely no one is better prepared than he to serve as an example of what happens when desire is put to the test. If Mother Nature bends to the will of desire, is it logical that mere men can defeat the burning desire? Strange and ponderable is the power of the human mind. We do not understand the method by which it uses every circumstance, every individual, every physical thing within its reach as a means of transmuting desire into its physical counterpart. Perhaps science will uncover the secret. I planted in my son's mind the desire to hear and to speak as any normal person hears and speaks. The desire has now become a reality. I planted in his mind the desire to convert his greatest handicap into his greatest asset. That desire has been realized. The modus operandi by which this, and that's what we mean by MO. You ever heard somebody say, "Oh man, what's your MO?" What's the MO? It's a Latin term. It's a Latin term. Listen, you come here to Shan, you're gonna always learn something. You ever heard somebody say, "What's the MO?" What's your MO, man? I don't understand your MO. That stands for modus operandi. That's a Latin term. Now I'm gonna put it on you to go look up what modus operandi is. I could tell you, but will you remember it? I want you to learn it, not memorize it. The modus operandi, the MO, by which this astounding result was achieved is not hard to believe. No, it's not mode of operation. RCC, it's not mode of operation. That's what people thought it was. That's what people originally thought it was. What's your mode of operation? It's modus operandi. But don't translate for them, RCC. Don't translate for them. Send them to the dictionary. Send them to the dictionary. No, it's Latin, you guys. Ignore RCC. It's not mode of operation. It's modus operandi. I want you guys to say it properly. Modus operandi. RCC is out here educating you. Stop it, RCC. Shame on you. The modus operandi by which this astounding result was achieved is not hard to believe. Not hard to describe it. It consisted of 3 very definite facts. First, I mixed faith with the desire for normal hearing, which I passed on to my son. Second, I communicated my desire to him in every conceivable way through persistent, continuous effort over a period of years. And third, my son believed me. My son believed me. As this chapter was being completed, news came of the death of MME Madam Schumann Hank. One short paragraph in the news dispatch gives the clue to this unusual woman's stupendous success as a singer. I quote the paragraph because the clue it contains is none other than desire. Early in her career, Madame Schumann Hank visited the director of Vienna Court Opera to have him test her voice, but he did not test it. After taking one look at the awkward and poorly dressed girl he examined, none too gently, with such a face and with no personality at all, how can you ever expect to succeed in opera? My good child, give up the idea. Buy a sewing machine and go to work. You can never be a singer. Never is a long time. The director of the Vienna Court Opera knew much about the technique of singing. He knew little about the power of desire. When it assumes the proportion of an obsession, if he had known more of that power, he would not have made that mistake of condemning genius without giving it an opportunity. Several years ago, one of my business associates became ill. He became worse as time went on and finally was taken to the hospital for an operation. Just before he was wheeled into the operating room, I took a look at him and wondered how anyone as thin and as emaciated as he could possibly go through a major operation successfully. I mean, he was probably frail and skinny and lost all his weight. The doctor warned me that there was little, if any, chance of my ever seeing him alive again. But that was the doctor's opinion. It was not the opinion of the patient. Just before he was wheeled away, he whispered feebly, "Do not be disturbed, Chief. I will be out of here in a few days." The attending nurse looked at me with pity. But the patient did come through safely. After it was all over, his physician said, nothing but his own desire to live saved him. He never would have pulled through if he had not refused to accept the possibility of death. That's what his doctor said. He said the only reason he's alive is because he believed he'd be alive. I believe in the power of desire backed by faith because I have seen this power lift men from lowly beginnings to places of power and wealth. I have seen it rob the graves of its victims. I have seen it serve as the medium by which men staged a comeback after having been defeated in 100 different ways. I have seen it provide my own son with a normal, happy, successful life, despite nature having sent him to the world without any physical ears. How can one harness and use the power of desire? This has been answered through this and this subsequent chapter of this book. This message is going out to the world, and at the end of the longest and perhaps the most devastating depression America has ever known, it is reasonable to presume that the message may come to the attention of many who have been wounded by the depression, and those who have lost their fortunes, others who have lost their positions, and great numbers who must recognize their plans and stage a comeback. Have you lost your job because of the pandemic? Has COVID-19 and coronavirus derailed everything for you? He's talking to you right now. He's talking to you right now. This message goes out to the world at the end of the longest and perhaps the most devastating depression, or in our case, pandemic, America has ever known. It is reasonable to presume that the message may come to the attention of many who have been wounded by the depression, or in this case, the pandemic. Those who have lost their fortunes, those who lost your jobs, lost all your money. Others who have lost their positions, and great numbers of those who must reorganize their plans and stage a comeback. To all these, I wish to convey the thought that all achievement, no matter what may be its nature or its purpose, must begin with an intense, burning desire for something definite. Through some strange and powerful principle of mental chemistry, which she has never divulged, Mother Nature wraps up in impulse of strong desire, that something which recognizes no such word as impossible and accepts no such reality as failure. Bars. Scene. And like always, let's go over the key ideas that we just read. 1, success doesn't come as a big break. It happens long in your mind before you ever get your break. 2, you have to leave yourself no opportunity for retreat. There's no plan B, you guys. I should call fucking my podcast No Plan B. There's no backup plans. Don't try anything and see if you succeeded. Make your mind up with definite purpose that you will succeed. Ain't no trying. We do. Only the doers are blessed. Go back and read and go back and watch one of my early podcasts, like podcast 1 or 2. Like podcast 1 or 2. Only the doers are blessed. Hold on. I had to adjust the camera. Number 3, wishing will not bring wishes. Wishing would not make you rich. But desiring riches with a state of mind that becomes an obsession, then planning definite ways to and means to acquire the riches, and backing those plans with action will make you rich. The object is to want money and to become so determined to have it that you convince yourself that you'll have it. Number 5, money consciousness means that the mind has become so thoroughly saturated with desire for money that you can see yourself already in possession of it. Number 6, every great leader that ever existed was a dreamer. Every great leader that has ever existed, including the ones that you know, like Obama, was a dreamer first. Every failure carries within it the seed of an even greater success. Every failure carries within it a seed of success. Everyone who has succeeded first had challenges and setbacks and failure. It was at the time of crisis that they discovered their other selves, which led them to their greatest success. Kanye West. Most people never learn how to transmute or change their strongest negative emotion into something positive. Number 10, there is a difference between wishing for a thing and being ready to receive a thing. No one is ready for a thing until they believe that they can acquire it. The state of mind must be belief, not mere hope or wish. Open-mindedness is essential for belief. Closed minds do not inspire faith, courage, and belief. That's chapter 2, my friends. That's chapter 2. Let me prep for 3. Friday morning, we reading chapter 3, faith. Faith visualization of and belief in attainment of desire. Chapter 3 is faith on Friday at 9 o'clock in the morning. Let me close that out. I love reading this stuff. I love this shit. I love it. I know a lot of people are like, why is this dude doing it? I love doing it. I love to build, man. I love being around people who build. I love being around people like you who's even willing to listen to this shit. Think about it. Most people are not willing to listen to this kind of stuff. Even less people are willing to read it. They all will be working for us. They will be your future employees. Those people will be the ones that you'll be giving $1 to as they panhandle you at the stoplight. I appreciate you guys for pulling up, reading with me. Let me go back and read. What up, Michael? Michael Furberger. He says he saw me on the stream yesterday with TLA. You were talking about The Secret. I loved it. And follow me here. Thank you, sir. Tap in with us. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you, Michael, for pulling up. Everybody, are you guys following? Did you guys hit the like button on the video? Hit the like button real quick, so it tells YouTube that this video is worth watching. And then subscribe and hit the bell. You get this subscription button and there's a little bell next to it. Hit the bell so you get notified, so you get the pop-up on your phone when we go live. And then join the army. Join the army. Join the SR Army, you guys, and get that next level content that we have here at this channel. I don't have a Patreon. I don't have a course to sell. I don't have a book to sell you. I'm not doing that, man. It's just straight up content right here. Just talking. It's just me and you talking. No courses, no books. And I don't knock those that do that. I'm just saying I don't have a course. I don't have a book. I don't have a Patreon. All I have is our members area. And in our members, we have our back chat, which I'm going to be starting up this week. So many people have joined the membership. We're going to go ahead and start. Make sure you guys all have the Group Me app on your phone. All members that are full-time soldiers or more. You see how I got notified? RCC Detroit sent $20. See, I don't even know that. The system is telling me. Shout out to RCC. Shout out to RCC. $20. He's paying his tuition. And RCC, you already know that you get the gift card. Look, the system is working. It writes it to you. It says, yo, RCC, just super chatted a big $20 to support the channel. We appreciate you. We appreciate you for helping us keep this going. Be sure to send an email to superchat@shannonross.com to get your gift card. Much love to you. Bruh, the system is working because I need help. This stuff, you guys are paying for this stuff to be automatic. It's like, okay, so I had the free versions before. Now I'm getting to the paid versions and I want it to pay for itself. And it's paying for itself because people like Lakeisha is hitting us with the super chats. Thank you so much, Lakeisha, for your $20 super chat. Great job. Thanks. I appreciate it. I appreciate you, Lakeisha. And the system is letting you know what to do. You too get the gift card. Be sure to email me. Be sure to email me. My employee she had a lot of work to do yesterday, so she didn't get a chance to get the super chats from the weekend out. It's all going out today from the past. They're all in her inbox. She just hasn't sent it out. So make sure super chat at Shannon Rawls, and those who win the contest are doing the chat winner or whatever it is at contest thing, because we're getting ready to do that right now too. But thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Yes, Miss Drea. She says, thank you for your time. Something you can never get back. Valuable information. Helping your community. Yes, everybody does it different, right? You guys our help. So say, for instance, the way I'm giving back in this medium is right here on YouTube. And you guys are supporting me in my efforts with that. When you guys send money, you know, YouTube gets their 30%. I get the other 70%. And then I take that money and I make this available. I buy microphones. I upgrade my computer to make sure that I'm giving you guys a quality show. I do research and I learn this information and I make my time available to be able to read to you guys. Then what happens? You take this information and you bless it to the people that's in your community. You talk to your friends and your family, your children, your cousin. When you go out and you chilling on vacation with somebody and you dropping knowledge on them, that's you paying it forward. So you got to acquire the information and then you got to pass it on. Only high value here, right? That's the way we work. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for pulling up and helping us out and being part of what we're doing. Friday, we'll be reading chapter 3. If you don't have the book, Think and Grow Rich, go grab a copy of it. Get a physical copy so you can have a one for your library. They don't cost much. I think they're like $6, free shipping. Go to Amazon and grab a copy of Think and Grow Rich. If you want a copy right now, go to the app store go to the bookstore, the book app on your iPhone. Grab a copy, type in Think and Grow Rich in the search and you're gonna get a ton of different options. Grab one. They're all the same writing. Grab one. So you can have a copy of that book. I want everybody to have a copy. Thank you so much, you guys, for pulling up. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the show. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'll see you later today because we're getting ready to go live for High Value Shan. I may go live twice today because I didn't go yesterday. So I may go live twice today. I got messages to give out. So make sure you're following the channel. Make sure you have the bell. So when I go live, because I'm going live today, I just don't know if I'm gonna go twice or not. I'm going live for once for sure. Make sure you guys are tapped in and you can check in the live, and I appreciate you. Hit the like button on this video and let YouTube know that this is worthy of being liked. Following my channel is almost like a product review. By following my channel, hitting the follow button, you're giving a product review saying that I'm worth listening to. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. And we out.
Yeah. Escucha. Mío en tu habitación, solo los 2 segundos que hay que detener. Porque si no siento tu voz o tu olor, te extraño y te quiero ver. Quiero ver. Tanto me falta. Todas esas noches tan soñadas. Que me levantes la mirada. Tú tienes pinta de indicada. Me haces falta, bebé.
Thank you, nobody. Manosphere, my guy MA is in the house, y'all. MA is in the house. You guys like the new chat on the screen, the chat overlay? It's better than the old one, right? When you guys support the channel like Ace Senior did, like Lakeisha just did with the $20 super chat, when you guys support the channel like RCC 72 did, RCC is a soldier in the army. RCC is a soldier in the army, you guys. Lakeisha is a soldier. When you guys support the channel the way you do, I'm able to upgrade the way the shit is being ran. I'm able to upgrade it. Miss Drea, see, Miss Drea is a soldier. You see that rank next to her? You see that rank that she has that's gonna be upgraded in 30 days or less than 30 days now. Her contribution to the channel and becoming a member of the channel, it allowed me. She says it's clear. Exactly. I'm glad it's clear now. I'm able to get better shit. I'm able to upgrade and do better things to make this a much more enjoyable show for each one of you. I appreciate all of you guys. Yeah, man.